Hi, I'm John Waterhouse, and this is our Center for Spiritual Living Summer Prosperity Review. An important part of every summer class is that we have an increased income program, which is what we use to demonstrate how our thoughts direct our experience. On the homepage of our cslasheville.org website, again, that's cslasheville.org, there's a registration form right on the homepage. If you haven't filled it out, please do so that Barbara and I can include you in our daily treatments, knowing that you're experiencing perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. Also, please download or copy the increased income treatment that's on that homepage and say that to yourself as many times a day as you can. When unexpected money shows up, send us an email at john@cslasheville.org. Again, john@cslasheville.org, and I'll tell everybody about your good fortune. Of course, I won't share your last name, but you'll know who it is. Or when you send your 10% tithe on that increased income to Center for Spiritual Living through the website or through the mail, please include a message to me telling me what came to you, what happened. I know something amazing is manifesting in your life right now, and we want to celebrate that with you. So let me tell you that Barbara and I have already received unexpected income. Devon Embler, while she's working on posting these classes for you, received unexpected income. And I received a note this week from Rick C., who says that he received an unexpected return on his escrow account and has sent that 10% into Center for Spiritual Living Asheville. So please join us and be a part of this. It's exciting to have unexpected things show up, to have an increase in your income that you weren't planning on. So we want to celebrate that with you. And now it's time for class. So please enjoy it and enjoy all the success in your life. And I'll see you at the end of the class.
The law of attraction. Now, if you have been in my classes, you know that occasionally I will say we don't really attract anything to us. That what we do is we focus on infinite possibilities and probabilities, and by the very fact of our observance, they manifest into form, into our life. Quantum physics calls it collapsing into form. Or else I'll say that we open up an avenue through which spirit can express through our consciousness and manifest in time and space. But for today, we're going to talk about attracting it. As if we were on Star Trek. And we had something we wanted and we caught it in our tractor beam. And you know, when you're looking in the ship that's been caught in the tractor beam, they can't get out. They're stuck in the tractor beam. They're going to be pulled in to the person that has got them. So we're going to talk today about this idea of focusing on something that we want and getting it in our tractor beam and pulling it into our lives, and how we do that. One of the things that I love about this teaching is it is not airy-fairy. We do real live miracles here. We have Lynn Villa in the room. We have Joseph O'Neill in the room. We have Pegatha in the room. And we have countless stories that I am not at liberty to share about you and your life in this room. We don't fool around with this. We use it and we create lives that get better and better and better, because there is this thing called spiritual law. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's all the same thing. We've got this Science of Mind teaching likes a lot of names. We've got the law of attraction, law of cause and effect, law of correspondence, law of mental equivalence, the law of reflection. We've got all kinds of ways to describe the one law. And that is that when you hold something within yourself, you will have it in your life. One of the ways that we look at it in the law of attraction is that we have a mental atmosphere. I like to liken it to Pigpen. Pigpen had a mental atmosphere. It was a bunch of dirt, but it was a mental atmosphere, and it kind of swirled around him. And if you came into his mental atmosphere, you would get dirty. And he would leave dirt behind him. I think that we have evolved past Pigpen. I am knowing that everyone in this room has evolved past the Pigpen consciousness. And the energy that we are bringing is not one of dirt or making things less than. It is one of light and lifting things up. We all carry within us and around us a mental atmosphere, and it is what we hold in our mental atmosphere that brings circumstances and conditions into our life. So we get mindful. We think about it. First of all, you can look at your life and notice what you've already brought in. If someone says, well, I don't know what's in my consciousness, I don't know what's in my mental atmosphere, all you have to do is look around at the stuff you've brought in. What have you put your tractor beam on and brought in? And that reflects what kind of a mental atmosphere you have, because things are not arbitrary. Things don't just happen. You are the point of creation in your life, and you are always at choice. Whatever it is you focus on, you create. What goes around comes around. Ernest says that no matter where you are, no matter how comfortable or uncomfortable, it is exactly where you belong, because you did that. So rather than, oh my gosh, this happened or that happened, all we need to do is look inside of ourselves and see what is it that we want. If we don't want this, we can have something else. There is not a deity up on a cloud somewhere that is pointing their finger down at us and saying, you are stuck with this life. That is not happening. One of the things that we can, many of the, at least the Judeo-Christian religions can agree on, is that we have free choice. One of the things that God gave us was free choice. So we can choose to have wonderful, amazing lives, or we can choose to suffer and struggle along the way. But it is our choice. There is no outside power that is going to take things away from us or give them to us. That's one of the things that sometimes people miss in this teaching. Isn't it great to think that something's going to overrun your thoughts and feelings and choices and actions and give you what you want without you having to do anything? That is called a fantasy. The only thing that will get you what you want is you. And if you're clear, you can have anything that you want, absolutely anything. But it is our mental atmosphere. What are we putting out and therefore attracting into our experience?
And we keep looking at the plant, thinking that's what we need to change. But we don't change it at the point of the physicality of the plant. Now there's a model that's been around for decades that people like me have used to teach this idea. And I want to share it with you right now. It's called the 4 planes of perception. This has, again, been around for decades. And they are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So going back to the idea of our model, where the seed is invisible, and that we focus upon the plant because it's there, is fully engaged in this idea of 4 physical planes. Which plane, when something's not working out, do you think people are focused on? The physical. Because that's what they can see. It's what they can smell or taste or they can relate to, and it's right there, and they can point at it, they can talk about it, they know all the qualities of it. They know when it started. They think they know who did it. It's usually somebody else. And they're stuck there, and they don't know how to move beyond that. And if you're trying to create prosperity in your life, this is one of the points that come, is you don't change it at the point of the physical. It won't change. And here's my silly example. You go online and you pull up your bank statement. And you see it there on the screen, and you print it out. So that you got a hard copy of it, physical copy of it. And you take your whiteout. You know, whiteout used to be with a brush. Now it's in a tape dispenser, and you just white out the total at the bottom of it, or the balance of your in your bank account, and you write in a larger number. Great, got it handled. And you go out and write some checks, and use your debit card on that account, and you go back a week or two later, and you go, whoa, there's less than there was last time I did it. And maybe then you print it out again, and you white it out, and you put in a bigger number, and you go back out and use the card a little bit more. Oh, and you go back and look at your account again. Oh, now there's an overdraft. What happened? Well, the silliness of this is that you know that's not how it works, but anyone that's dealing entirely with the physical is doing it that way. They're not getting the result because they're stuck on looking at what they can see. It's not where it happens. It's not where this works out in your life. It's where it works out is in the invisible. And the invisible goes to these other three planes. And that's what we want to look at tonight is how do we look at these planes of perception and use them effectively in our lives? How do we create that and move beyond these such silly scenarios as this to create the thing that we want? We need a mic to do this.
Is that pretty much the same as don't focus on the condition? The condition is the physical?
Well, focusing on the condition is the physical. You've nailed that. You're absolutely right. The thing that you've already got has a physicality to it, most likely. It's rare that it wouldn't. It has something you can say is wrong, is not working. That's the physicality of it. And it doesn't change there. It's at the bottom of the model. And you do not change what's in the plant part of that model. You can only plant another seed. So it's the planting of the seed that you have to begin to work on. And where do you do that? You do that with your thinking. You do that with your feeling. And you do that with your knowing of your spiritual nature. It is through that you create a change in your life. And you get different results. Now, most of the people on planet Earth would never understand this. To begin with, most people, if you study neurolinguistic programming, they tell you that most people are not focused on the invisible realms. And if you do the Myers-Briggs, it's even stronger, where it says that about 75, maybe 76% of all the people on the planet are what are called sensates. That means they relate to life through the physical. That's what they know. That's what they understand. That's where they are. Now, many of you in this room are intuitives. And that helps you go into this invisible world. But I want you to know that even sensates can go into the invisible world if they choose to, if they're trusting enough to go there. But what that means largely is when you're only looking at the physicality of life, the problem. If that's where you're focused on fixing the problem from the place of the problem, it will not fix. In fact, you'll create more of it. Because you'll be angry at it. And you'll be using the emotional part of this against you. So how do you refocus and get where you want to go? Not by denying that thing that exists, because you've already created it. So it's not about, and there is that thing of turning away from the condition, and I support that. But that doesn't mean denying the existence of a condition. Because those conditions are real to the sense of where we are in the physical plane. They have repercussions. For example, if you don't pay a bill, they will send bill collectors to you, and that will be a deepening problem. At the same time, focusing on the bill and freaking out that you can't pay it isn't the answer either. It's the idea that you focus on all my bills are paid. And how do you get to that place? Well, you get to that place with the idea that you always have more than enough to pay your bills. You don't accept a reality beneath that. And then you feel into that. You feel that that's right, and that makes you feel good. It makes you feel proud. It makes you feel empowered. That yes, all your bills are always paid. Yeah, but what about this bill over here that's overdue? That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing in my life. I'm changing my flow. At this moment, I'm looking at that all my bills are paid, but I'm also going to look at how that flow comes to me. And know that I deserve to bring in and flow through my life lots of money so that all my bills are always paid. That can be a motivator. All my bills are always paid on time. I personally do not pay interest charges. I just opened up a new Delta Airlines American Express card, and they have to read off all that about the interest. And when she read like 26% interest, I chuckled. I said, "Great, I don't do that, so don't worry about it." But I got that card for a specific purpose because I'm going to be traveling again, and I don't want to pay for my luggage. And if I had a card, I'd never pay for the luggage. So that is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. But let's talk about again the 1% and what's not part of this 1% we're talking about. That part that we can't change, which is what in fact, let's go back to it so you guys can have it, so that you can see that the remaining 1% is circumstances to which I must adapt and adjust. And I must adapt and adjust because I didn't do this. Where can I say clearly? Well, let's talk first about what that doesn't include. That 1% does not include the amount of money in my bank account. That is not a 1%er. That's a 99%er. I'm doing that. It does not include the amount of formal education I have. That's me. It's not including the state of my health in any way, shape, or form. That's me. And this isn't about blaming. This is about empowering all of us so that when things happen, we can take personal responsibility for it, because if we don't, we can't change it. We can't change the 1% is what I'm saying. We have to adapt to it. You're going to hear what 1% is in a minute. The 1% does not include the state of our relationships with anybody. The 1% does not include our job. I want to tell a little story because I love this story. Barbara's nephew, his name is James Billings, was trained, went to University of Central Florida. Charlie, what did I say? Oh my goodness, that's his brother. Yes, Charlie. Charlie Billings went to school at Florida Central Florida University, became an expert, a chemist and a biologist, and he had these special skills to test things coming out of the ground. Brilliant guy. Went to work for the big company in Orlando that did this. But he got a notion he wanted to live here. So he told his wife he wanted to move to North Carolina. Oh, no. I like my job. I don't want to move. Oh, I really want to live up there. It's so cool. They came up here and got married. And he said, I really want to live up there. So when the announcement came that his company had been sold and everybody was losing their job, there was screaming and gnashing of teeth and all this upset. And Charlie's going, great. Give me my severance. I'm going to North Carolina. He came up here, said, I'm looking for a job. Got, what was it called? The Iwana at the time? Got the Iwana, looked under jobs. There was a job in Asheville that absolutely matched his skills. So he called him, got an appointment, went over, did an interview, was not offered the job. Came home, he said, felt right to me. I don't know, they didn't offer me the job. The next day, the manager called back and said, are you still available? He said, sure. He said, okay, you got the job. The reason the guy didn't give him the job is he thought it was a setup. The boss thought it was a setup, that the guy that left and moved to Atlanta thought he had set up this guy to come in and take his place. They didn't know each other. So as soon as he figured that out, he raced and got Charlie on the phone and gave him the job. This was Charlie's consciousness. Now, he came up here and said, I'll clean toilets. I want to live here. I'll do whatever I have to do to live here because this is where I want to live. Now he's risen up in that as a superstar in that organization, and they told him that if he stayed in Asheville, they were going to fire him because created such a wonderful thing in Asheville. They didn't need him here anymore. They needed him in Pittsburgh, so that's where he lives now, and he likes Pittsburgh, so he's doing great. He's doing great. But jobs are not in the 1%, they're in the 99%. Let's see if I've got anything else. Car accidents, financial misfortunes, getting fired, being left in a relationship are all in the 99%. They're all about you and me. They are not in the 1%. Do you want to hear what's in the 1%? Yes. Of course you do. Someone else dying. Someone else other than you dying. You didn't do that. You have to adapt to it. You have to adjust to it. But you didn't do it. Now I played with it. What else could it be? So I played with this, the economy. Frankly, I disagree. Two quick stories. I was in Houston, traveling back years after I lived there. I was in Miami, went to some kind of a conference in Houston, sat and had lunch with a dentist. And this, I don't remember when it was, but it was in one of those little recessions. And I said to the guy, how you doing with the economy? And he looked at me and straight faced said, what economy? I have patients. They come, I fix their teeth, they leave. Other patients come, I fix their teeth. What economy? Brilliant. My other one is 2008, the mother of all recessions. At this center, it did impact our income. It did. It impacted income everywhere, right? Some centers closed down. They had to, in their circumstance and their understanding. And I said, no, we're not going anywhere. And at that time, we were paying at least 4 times more than we pay now in our mortgage. Yeah, we were paying a ton of money for our mortgage. So the way that we got through it was that Barb and I had a relationship with the center, which was called a performance contract. We still have that, where based on the income, we got a percentage at the time. And so these percentages were smaller than they had been in the past. And of course, our plan was always to tie 10% of that back to the center so that there was this flow. Well, when things got that way, we had a rule that the center always paid us no matter what. The center tithed first, then it paid the ministers. That was the rule. So it did. Did it have that money to pay us? During that period of 2008, not a lot. So what we did was, I wrote a check back to the center for that amount that we were paid. Now, the center paid us. And we consciously tied the 100% back to the center. And we had enough in reserves in our life to get through that, more than the center had at the time. And we did. And when it was over, we went back to doing what we do. And it all works. That's the way we did it. Because we were not going to be impacted by this thing called a bad economy. Boy, we wanted to buy property down in Florida. It was so cheap, but you couldn't get financing then. So it was fine. It was best not to. We're glad we didn't do it now. But boy, we were looking at some properties that were so cheap. Oh, God. They were drooling on those properties. It was great. Anyway, somebody over here had a thought that they wanted to share. Is that you, Jane? Yeah. In the mic, always in the mic.
Ah, all right, here it is. Was that a personal contribution?
Yeah, that's what we did to make this work.
Out of pocket, then,
yes,
of your
we
own?
just turned right around, put the money right back in.
Oh, very interesting. Okay.
Well, and I have no regrets. That's the way we did it. And today we have a thriving community that supports us personally very nicely, So I have no regrets for doing that. Otherwise, it would have folded. We would have to walk away from this building and not have that would be the time that we would have built this building. Great idea. It can, another $500,000 of mortgage, but it's what it was. So it's what we did, and it worked. So do what you need to do as you move through this. Don't ever think life is unfair. Life is never unfair. Sometimes you have to adjust. But I see now that an economy will never stop me. If it was going to stop me, it would have, then it didn't. What was the other one I wrote down? The weather. Let's talk about the weather for a moment. I do not believe that the weather is in the 1%. The weather is not part of the 1%. And my first great experience of this takes me back to living in Australia and being part of a community there, a spiritual community. And we had our big events during the week, so the weekends were off. So on Saturday, we gathered as a group, those that wanted to come, and we would go off and do outings. And one particular Saturday, we wanted to go to the beach, and I love to go to the beach. So we're going to meet in downtown Sydney. We're all going to get in vans in a caravan, and we're going to go to some beach somewhere, and I'm all about it. I get up Saturday morning, it is pouring. It's pouring. And I'm not where I am now. Really? We're going to the beach? So I get there, and we're standing undercover at the front of a downtown building. So the cars, the trucks, the vans and all will line up and get us. And I'm looking at everybody, are you sure about this? And they all looked at me and said, absolutely, it's going to be great. Okay, so we all get in these vans and we get our caravan going, driving down the wrong side of the road, as they do in Australia. And we're going winding roads and all of this. And we get to this place and we pull into this parking lot. There's no beach there. You got to walk down a trail to get to a beach. But we pull into the parking lot and it stops raining. Well, that's a coincidence. And so we went off and we went to the beach. And it was lovely walking down this path. Everything's glistening because there's water all over it and the sun's out. And it's so beautiful. And the plants there are totally different than they are here. So everything looks like from a different planet. And so we go down to this lovely little beach. And we have this picnic and it's wonderful. And we go in the water and it's just, what a beautiful day. At the end of the day, we get back and we go back to the cars and we drive out of the parking lot. As we're driving out of the parking lot, it starts raining. It rains all the way back to Sydney. We get out of these vans, it's pouring. And I look at everybody and said, you did that, didn't you? And they all said yes. They insisted on having a wonderful day at the beach. Now, we've done that here. We've had people call and say, oh, it's snowing where I am. And we'll go, it's not here. Now, it has snowed here. I wouldn't say that it hasn't. There's sometimes we just go, okay, it's like, it snows okay. Let's just do this. And then we deal with it. But we have stories of hurricanes bearing down on somewhere and people beyond this community going into deep prayer of knowing that hurricane, that the people are safe where it's targeted right there. And having the friggin' thing turn. All happens all the time. So don't underestimate your ability to create. What's the other one? Crime. 99%. It's not in the 1%. Anytime any of us are impacted by a criminal act, we are participating in that at some level. I'm not saying you're a victim. I'm saying you're a participant. So that you were in the place that happened. You knew you were going there. Many times you knew there was some level of risk. How many times do you hear in the story about a man killing a woman, or even the other way around, that they had told people they were afraid it was going to happen, and there it was, boom, it happened. It's not like you didn't know. You were a participant. Look at the big picture of crime. It was the transcendentalists that showed us that they could go near a crime-ridden city and do their chanting and their mantras and all of that they do, and do it for like 24 hours, and suddenly have the crime statistics drop in that city. Don't tell me that crime is in that 1% that we can't control. It's in the 99%. That's who we are. We're in the 99%. So everything else in our lives is part of the 99%. And frankly, I think that 1% is too high. It's something less than that. But we have to be able to be prepared to adapt and to adjust when something happens, like someone we love leaves this plane. If they're leaving us, they're saying, I've had enough. That's in the 99%. But if they surprise us and leave this world, that's the 1%, and we must work on that within ourselves. I'll tell you, too, that grief is the tool for that. Grief is that heavy energy that allows us to fill that emptiness and be okay while we readapt to our lives without that beloved, whoever they are. So that's the piece. I am always thinking this is going to take longer. I have one whole new piece to share with you. Let me see if I can do that now. It's called the process of manifestation. The process of manifestation. T plus F plus A equals R. That's the formula. Who wants to guess what the T is? Thought plus feelings plus action. Argon, yeah, really. Action equals results. Easy. This is what we do. We have a thought. We have an emotional experience of that thought. And thoughts don't go very far without some kind of feeling. In fact, I've always said that if you're doing treatments, affirmations, and such, that the thing that you get out of that is through feeling it. So don't underestimate the power of feeling it. Think it, feel it, act upon it, and you'll get a result. You'll get a result you like. And if you don't, go back and adapt. Because sometimes something gets in our way as we do that. Oh, let me get my last one on there. We're good. Sometimes someone will do that. They will think that they didn't get the result they want, but if you go back and really look at what are the underlying thoughts around this. Now, the piece that we'll go into more next week is the idea that you have some underlying thoughts that don't bubble to the top very much, but have a lot to say about who you are. Have a lot to say about how you live your life and what's going on. And some of them, most of them come from that early part of your life when you're a child and you hear your parents or your teachers or your minister say things when you're a child, and you absorb them, and they become foundational ideas that you move through your life. They read something like this: money is the root of all evil, which is a lie. Because the true statement is the love of money is the root of all evil. But nonetheless, money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy, making their money off the sweat of poor people. That family is filthy rich. You have to work hard for your money. Donna Summers. A lie. Money doesn't grow on trees. That may be accurate, but it's a diversion from where we want to go. The rich get richer. That's right. That's the rest of that one. The poor get poorer. A parent saying, "Do you think I'm made of money?" And here's the worst one to me. That anyone would ever tell a child, "We can't afford that." Don't ever tell a child, "We can't afford that." It puts an idea in children that they grow into adulthood that they can't afford it. And they live with that, and they live without being able to express fully into their lives because they can't afford it. Here's what you say instead. You say, "We could afford this, but I'm not going to buy this for you right now, and here's why." And you better have a damn good reason why. And especially if you're in the store and it's the toy. "Mommy, buy me this toy." Don't say we can't afford it. Say, "You're not going to get that today. And here's why. Because this isn't the day to buy that. This is something that we might look at getting on a special event, on your birthday, for Christmas, something like that, whatever it is you say. But have a plan for what you would say to a child, but never, ever, ever. Because that just shuts a child down. There are times in life, many times, for the joy of life, we can't afford it. Yeah, I know we're getting close. So we're going to pass out our homework for the week and talk about this briefly. I've got a copy, so as you're getting this, what you're getting is a one page this week. You can do everything on one page. No need to copy. So what I want you to do is go back, is maybe look at the work you did on your last week's stuff. The stuff that came up. And I want you to look at what the underlying belief may have been for you. And if you can't, here's the trick. If you go, "I don't know what the underlying belief is," make it up. Because chances are what you make up is true. Okay? So what's your belief is the first thing. And again, what we're basing this on could be stuff from what you did last week, or if you want to start off with something new, something in your life, and the place to go to is something that's a challenge for me. What's my belief about that? What's my belief? And don't play the uppity game that, "Oh, I have plenty, everything's wonderful." That's not the kind of belief we're looking for. If you had that belief fully engaged in you, that everything is bliss and all is working, then you wouldn't have this challenge. You've got something in your subjective mind that is allowing this challenge to be in your life. So find the thing that challenges you. I just read you some of the kinds of things we're looking for. So what would your belief be? Whatever it is, write it in that little square, succinctly, obviously. What's its origin? You are not its origin, because you've learned everything you know from somebody else, from something else. Doesn't have to be a person, but it may be a person. And it could be, it doesn't have to be as a baby, as a child. You may have learned it in college. You may have learned it when you started your first business. But you've got some belief in you that you've put in the first block that came to you at some point in your life from somewhere. And if again you go, I don't know where it came from, make it up. You know, there's a point in having an origin because you want to give it back to that place. Okay? So what is your origin? That's an important thing to fill out. Breezy has a question. Well, just ask me and I'll repeat it.
Are each of these for a different day?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So what is your origin? And I'll just say now that yes, you have six rows, one for each day until you come back to class. How has it affected you, this thing? And I'll go back to Amanda's. You know, she got ticked off when they want to raise the rent. Feel it. How did it affect you? It made me mad. It freaked me out. It confused me. Whatever it was, write it in there. Okay? Question, do you want to release it? You filled that sucker up with the word yes. Because if you're not, I don't know why you're here. Yes should be the answer there, but it's worth affirming that that's important to you. So write the word yes in there if you want to release it. What's your affirmation? You to begin looking at how you can construct an affirmation that speaks to what you want, that causes you to step away from all four of these columns that you're writing on. These four things the three things, because yes works with you. But what is that belief that's got you in that condition you don't want? What's its origin? How has it affected you? Those are things that you really want to see and not deny at this point. See them. You don't have to embrace them. Just know that they exist. Say you want to release it, and then say the words that will turn that around. We're going to work more on affirmations next week. We're going to do it in a very powerful way. But this is your week to create an affirmation in that last column, again succinctly, a very short phrase that counteracts this thing that you've written, that helps you to rise above this thing that you've written. Can you do that? Good. Bring your sheet filled out back to class next week and we'll work on it. Fantastic.
Okay, take a deep breath. Let it out. Another deep breath. Let it out. Good, good, good. Take out what you're going to give. I like to hold it close to my heart. But more than that, I like to get up out of my chair and yell and scream. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready to have more money than you know what to do with? Yes. Are you ready to have so much money that you've got to hire people to help you work it? Yes. Are you ready to go where you want to go? Yes. Buy what you want to buy and do what you want to do? Then we're going to do our treatment for increased income together aloud.
I firmly know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word which I speak in faith knowing now activates universal law, and I accept the results. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. I bless all the others in the increased income program of our class, and I know that we now prosper together in every way. I give thanks for this good, and so it is.
Again.
I firmly know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I
is class 3 of our summer prosperity review. I hope it was enjoyable for you. And more importantly, I hope you found some things that you can use in your life right now to make yourself more prosperous and successful. So thank you for joining in. And I thought we'd do one more thing before we leave. If you haven't done it yet, please register for the Increased Income Program on the homepage at cslasheville.org. And do say the prosperity affirmation, the what we call our treatment for prosperity every day, and at least once a day, as many times as you can. And to get us started, why don't we do it right now? And if you don't know it, that's fine. Just listen and let it just wash over you. And if you do know it, please join me in this. Here we go. I, John, know that God is the source of all supply and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word, which I speak in faith knowing, now activates universal law, and I accept the results. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. I bless all the others in the Increased Income Program of our center, and I know that we now prosper together in every way. I give thanks for this good, and so it is. Wonderful. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next Monday.